But getting on to our topic again. So the first one that I want to talk to you about is this QR code scam. And so I've been seeing this now for a couple of months, probably. I don't know if it's been around a lot longer than that or not, really, but a couple of months in my Facebook feeds. News articles have been coming out about it. There have been people talking about it. And I'm not quite sure, I guess, what to think about it. How paranoid in a way should I be? There's QR codes everywhere. You you see it on every wall, on every paper, on every ad. Scan this code and it leads you to wherever they want to lead you. And then you read articles about, and I don't know the details, which is what I would like you to tell me about this. Things like, you scan these things and they'll drain your bank account or something, right? And I'm wondering, well, is that really true, right? Or what are the limits of what they're doing, and what do we really have to watch out for or not? So let's take this first thought for a moment. If I scan a QR code with my phone, is it possible that somebody's going to drain my bank account if I scan the wrong one?
That is a very good question. And to answer that, there would have to be a whole lot of things just right for that to happen
Okay.
very quickly, right?
Okay.
Is it possible that it would lead you down that path? That is more possible.
Okay.
Is it possible that it's going to trick you into taking a next step that eventually leads you? That is an even higher possibility.
Okay.
So the way to think about a QR code is really it's just condensed information that your smartphone's camera can quickly turn into a web address. That's the most common use case. And so when you scan a QR code, your camera then says, oh, all of these dots and empty spaces represent this website. And so then it usually displays it, and some QR code readers are so efficient they just want to go there right away.
Mm-hmm.
On most modern smartphones, there's at least one stop there where it shows you the URL that you will be going through if you tap on it. So on an iPhone, for example, that's the default. If you use the default camera
Okay.
that Apple ships with the phone, you'll actually have to first tap on it. So it would be no more risky and no less risky than getting a text message that says Canada Revenue Agency has given you a refund. Click on this link to collect it.
I get lots of those.
Right. Have you ever collected?
I haven't
How
yet.
come? Right. And it's because we tend to now be somewhat cautious. And that's the way we should be about QR codes as well,
Okay.
is realize that whatever information is on there could be deceptive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start with the position that this is most likely a deceptive QR code,
Mm-hmm.
don't click on it if you didn't ask for it. And it's one of the safest things to do. If you are in your doctor's office
Mm-hmm.
and there's a poster on the wall that says, this is the guest Wi-Fi, chances are pretty good it's safe,
Okay.
right? Because you're looking for Wi-Fi to use while you're at the doctor's
Mm-hmm.
office, perhaps. Or you're in a magazine, or you're looking at a magazine,
Mm-hmm.
and it says, for more information on this product, click on this QR code. Well, not only did someone pay money to put that there, but now if you're interested, you're looking for more information. So if you're actively looking for the content that's on a QR code, then the chances are that it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
If you're somehow being sent something without prompting for it, chances are really high that it's not safe, and just to ignore it.
Yeah. So now, what about if we think about fake websites then, or pretending to be a website that maybe you do want to go to, right? Or QR code. Um, Let me give you an example of something that happened to my wife and I just 2 weeks ago. And now I don't know what led to this, but it ended up leading to us having 4 deposits made from our bank account worth about $600 that was taken out of our account. And so we're still not sure what led to it, but so we went to Zaire's, and we have the PC Optimum cards, for example. They have
Right.
the website too, or the app and things that you get points.
Right.
Now we went to Zaire's, it was around 2 weeks ago, and something funny, I guess, happened now to her phone, and with signing into PC, or she had to sign in a couple of times, and we didn't know what was going on. Now there had been a QR code also by the fruit section with one of those that you're supposed to scan for a deal on the app, for example, right? And now I don't know if, like, and I think it did lead to it, But then she was having some difficulties with the app. The phone was doing some funny things.
Hmm.
We couldn't get things happening like it was supposed to. And when signing out by but we went through the self checkout, and there you then also scan your phone, right, or something that the app gives you, for example, and so there was some scanning happening, and I don't know what all happened, but anyways, I think it was later that day. She had mentioned to me, and she was wondering about this. So she had received a sign in, like from her phone or something, apparently, and it was from Niagara,
Hmm.
right? And she was wondering about this, like, should I be worried about this? And I wasn't sure. Is then I was also thinking, okay, what about VPNs, right? VPNs, like mine says, I'm in Toronto, for example, or something like that. And I want to ask you later on about something like VPNs. We want to talk about that. And I thought, okay, maybe it's nothing to worry about or whatever. I don't think. And anyways, we went on. And then that Sunday, though, or that Saturday, we had, I think it was one deposit taken out of our account, PC Optima or PC Points or something anyway, that it said it was supposed, or PC Express. And that Sunday, another three. And then my wife found these. And so we quickly, we called the bank, and they're usually pretty good about
Right.
these things, right?
Right.
Now, when we went to our bank account and we would look at what is, what did they buy, none of the information was on there that would usually be there. It
I
said
see.
PC Express or something by each one, but not the location, not the items, nothing on there. All the other times there's information on there and a phone number. And so we canceled it, or we called in, canceled the card, and whatever. She changed some
Hmm.
passwords. And so the question is, what led to that?
Right.
Right? So,
Right.
okay, was it all of a sudden, thinking, okay, QR code, right?
Were,
But so I'm not sure, but this was specifically PC.
yes.
Somebody had hacked into the PC Express account somehow or something, and I don't know how.
Were you? So my first question back to you is: were you looking to scan that QR code because you were looking for a product, or did it somehow just was it something that enticed you to scan it because you saw somewhere it said scan here for this?
What?
Like you weren't
Yeah,
looking for it. It was looking for you,
yeah,
right? Whenever a QR code's looking for you, it's up to no good.
yeah. And
So
so
I'm
yeah,
curious where you saw the QR code to
it
begin
was,
with.
yeah. So it was in Zares on
Yes.
the fruit section, like, and here's, for a deal or whatever, right?
Oh,
Like
that's
on that section.
interesting.
Now, like I say, I don't know if
Yep.
that's what led to it,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like that could have nothing to do with her. Was it something that happened by the checkout? You hear all
Right.
kinds of scams that happen by checkouts these days too, right? And so, like, we're in this whole world of people scamming each other and things happening.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm really curious about this whole QR code thing as well, right? And if I scan one of these things, they say, there's packages being sent to somebody's doors, right? And then you open the package and whatever, and it's like, hey, scan here. And so if you scan the code, you mentioned that usually there's steps that you have to take in
Yeah.
order for something like, uh, your accounts to be hacked to happen, like banking and things like that. Um, so not that it would be scan and then they right away directly have access to your bank accounts, not things like that.
No. So in your case, if that theft happened as a result of scanning a QR code,
Mm-hmm.
then the steps that would have happened would have been at first, scanning the QR code would have led you to a URL, a web address.
Mm-hmm.
And if your particular scanner didn't put a notice there that you had to tap to continue,
Mm-hmm.
I would never use a QR code scanner that doesn't show the URL that it will go to,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the first point. I'm like, it's trying to go to pcid.ca or it's trying to go to nofrills.ca or whatever. Yeah, I know that website. That's where I'm purchasing from. Then that would be sort of the sanity check. But if it's got some IP address or something else in a website that I don't recognize, that's the point I would stop. Right now,
Okay, that reminds me.
this is
Now I got to think about that actually, because I think one that I've been using, a scanner that I've been using, just directly leads to wherever. So
that's
I gotta think about this to check a different one that first
yeah.
tells me where it's leading. Okay, good point.
That's the first. That would be the first opportunity. Now, this is not an opportunity for me to talk about Atom Networks,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a problem that we've needed to solve
Mm-hmm.
for our clients. And so what I literally just came from a competition. X-Tech of the U.S. Army had a booth at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas a few weeks ago.
Okay.
We were one of the selected finalists to basically demonstrate our product from stage.
Hmm.
And what we did is we gave the 5 judges each a QR code. So we used this exact same scam and we asked them if they would be interested in scanning. Now, none of the judges were willing to scan the QR code
Okay.
because if they had scanned the QR code, it would land them to a page at a Skull and Crossbones and said your phone has been hacked. It was a fake scam page, but just to show them how easy it is for their phone to land on a website that they did not intend.
Mm-hmm.
What we do instead is if that website is not already known and already has a good reputation, then it just gets blocked.
Okay.
So in order for me to, that's how I protect my family. If that destination isn't already known to be a good and safe website, it just doesn't even go there.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, this kind of technology is not yet consumer available for free, right? There's still a real cost associated with it.
Yeah.
But that is the extent that an enterprise is willing to go to in order to protect their executives, especially the ones that have access to a bank account. Mm-hmm. So what happens if you do go directly to that website? That website now relies on somehow that browser being authenticated to your bank account. Mm-hmm. So at some point, it might have said, okay, open up your bank account app in order to authenticate. So you said she had trouble. Sometimes what they do is they bounce through a proxy where the attacker actually controls it, because that way, if she's then asked by the bank, provide me with your cell phone number, a text message that I just sent you for authentication, right? Like a lot of banks in Canada will then ask you for a text confirmation that has just been sent in order to log in. Now the attacker is intercepting as you punch in that number, is intercepting it and punching it at their end. And so that's how they end up getting access to your account. Does that happen? Absolutely. I've been involved in countless incident response projects where exactly this kind of thing happened. And there's various levels of sophistication where it happens. I have yet to see that happen with the QR code that you described. But it's entirely possible because the process is very predictable.
Yeah. And like I say, I don't know if it was the QR code there, right? It's just that day we did know something happened, and around that time, while we were at the checkout, something happened there, right? And then there was a login elsewhere right around that time.
Right.
So exactly
it
what
really
it
does
was,
sound
right?
like that is what happened.
Yeah.
But
So
good news is in Canada, the banks really have been, used to be very much in favor of any victim experience. They would cover all of it. That's how it used to be. Anymore now, they will not cover a loss if you have been phished. Meaning that if you have given your username and password to a thief and they then stole money, then the bank says, no, you gave them a username and password. You didn't know that you did, but you did. So if they've got a really hard, solid evidence that you've done that, then they're like, that's not our responsibility.
Yeah, so luckily we did get our money back after, which was good.
Okay, good.
That was nice.
Especially if it's a first-time victim. Then they tend to be a lot more forgiving.
Yeah.
Second time, they're not going to be as forgiving.
Yeah. But this is good advice. So first off, I guess, the QR scanner that I use to make sure that it first shows me the website that is being opened. So that's a good point. But yeah, but it's good to know that generally it's a matter of what you do after you get there.
Yes.
That really becomes the problem. So if you are on this new site, wherever it is, you could generally be okay if you then exited without doing something else, like you say, entering some kind of private information, which will run you into all kinds of problems. Okay. Very good. So there is hope, but avoidance is the best, the best thing, right?
I would still say the best way to avoid these kinds of scams is it's the same thing with software. If you're being sent something, here's a new update to Adobe Reader. Here's a new update, like an email comes to you because you have a new update available for Windows or Mac OS, or a new application that you should install. If you weren't looking for it, don't. But instead, when you want to update, then you go and choose the operating system's update mechanism.
Yeah.
If you need an update to Adobe Reader, then you go to the Adobe Reader website to grab it from there. The big difference is if you're being tricked, and it's not always obvious when we're being tricked by an adversary, but that's usually what it looks like. Because you weren't looking for it,
Hmm.
that's how you know it's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about it oftentimes as well for myself. You get lots of offers for all kinds of stuff, and I think, okay, once I want whatever the offer is, I will go and go to a website or go to this program, and then I will ask for this thing, like you
Right.
say, and then I know, well, this is exactly where it's supposed to be, and this is where I'm getting it, and so very good point.